We are showing you today several of the videos of the why I signed the declaration that we were requesting women to record. So we're going to show you some more during the webinar today.
My name is
Welcome.
Irene. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a lifelong progressive, and most of my colleagues, friends, and family also identify primarily with the political left. I signed the Women's Declaration because I've been alarmed at how quickly the language in every facet of culture and public life, especially among people on the left, has shifted to erase women and treat our specific biology, needs, concerns, safety, and privacy as imagined or insignificant. For too long, I assumed that gender ideology simply meant allowing people to express themselves as they wish. But now I realize how regressive this ideology is. I posted about this on social media exactly once and lost several friends as a result. I am forever indebted to WDI and radical feminists everywhere for the clarity of their analysis on this issue, and I intend to stand firm in all spaces where I find myself against this ideology and for the rights and safety of women and girls.
Hi, my name is El Kamihira. I signed the Women's Sex-Based Rights Declaration because I don't believe that the trans movement is a legitimate human rights movement. I think a legitimate human rights movement would not try to demolish another oppressed group's rights, such as women, the largest, violently persecuted group on the planet. And I don't want to be told that it's wrong of us to have boundaries from men. Well, I think all of us have a lifetime of conditioning and training to protect ourselves from male violence and male sexual violence, because that's what they do. And so I'm not going to pretend that men are not dangerous to women, however they identify. Thank you.
I signed the Declaration for so many reasons. The main one, though, is that the United Nations has thrown women under the bus by changing the word sex to gender. This is a direct assault on women and girls' sex-based rights.
I was bombarded a lot with all these queer ideas and how we needed to be kind to these people and how they were the most marginalized people in the world ever in history. And I think they definitely preyed on that kindness we always want to show to everyone. And one day, when I got my peak trans, it was a day I was 19 years old, barely of age, and I was in an LGBTQ bar, and I went to the women's bathroom, and there I got assaulted by two trans-identified males, and they hit me when I said that I'm a lesbian and I only like women, so they got very aggressive. And then two other women, probably in their 30s or so, two lesbians, walked in and saw this, and they literally saved me from something worse. And when we went to the manager and said, like, this happened in the bathrooms, do something, they kicked me out because they said I was a transphobe. And that was the start of a lot of things that I said, like, hey, it sounded weird, and a little by little, all these things started to pop out. It doesn't make sense. And I said, where are the women's rights? It's because they said rights are in pie, not because someone gets it, you lose yours. But then I started to notice we are actually losing our rights and our names and our spaces. And I found Women's Declaration International, and I read it completely, and it was like this amazing piece of women's rights that we should not forget. And I signed them, and I joined the webinars. And as Ray said, the webinars are this beautiful space filled with wise, fantastic, and brave women that encouraged me to keep fighting for my rights, for the rights of the women that are coming now, and they have such a difficult arena to develop themselves. Because I remember myself, I was a very tomboyish girl, and I still look very tomboyish. And right now, if I was born 20 years later, I would be definitely being convinced that I was a man, and it is not true. I've learned through these spaces to become very proud of being a woman, of being a lesbian, and to being a feminist that fights for the real end of patriarchy, whether it comes in as a conservative religious patriarchy or as a glittering skirts patriarchy. So for me, Women Declaration International is a beacon of sanity, of bravery, and a place when I can meet like-minded, fantastic women that are not afraid to be in a witch hunt. We've lost jobs, we've lost friendships and relationships and a lot of things, but the fight is worth it, and these women remind me every day of that.
First, I was a lesbian and a feminist, have been for 40 years. And I am well aware that the root of this is misogyny, and that it is about some sort of backlash. I do believe this, and that the silencing of women yet again, the oppressing of lesbians, the oppressing, just basically men taking over yet again, silencing women, and doing it with violence and aggression. So that is one reason, and I've been an active lesbian feminist for many years in Weibo and so on from the beginning. But apart from that, also for 40 years, I have been a nurse and a midwife and an abortion provider in the NHS. So I ran an abortion service at the same time as being a radical midwife. And I am also very well aware that female fetuses are aborted worldwide. Even in this country, it's more difficult because of the law, but the requests are made, and it's certainly done in exchange for money, because they are female. In the same way that little girls are killed, female infanticide is huge all over the world, and that is because males are prized because of patriarchy. Now, this is an issue that is not being raised enough, I don't think, because these little girls and these female fetuses cannot identify as anything. So this whole nonsense, going back to being a midwife, of babies being assigned a sex at birth is absolute nonsense when you look at female infanticide and the aborting of female fetuses, which I have to say is all because of men. Women do not themselves want their female fetuses aborted. It is because of coercion and pressure and often aggression from men, and I have seen this, having been providing abortion for nearly 30 years. And the third reason is I was also an active trade unionist in what was mainly a women's union, because 80% of the women were women on very low pay. So women who were cleaners and linen workers, laundry workers, kitchen staff, and so forth. And women all over the world earn less, have the most appalling working conditions, and work harder physically in many ways than men, and have no way of escaping that. And so for me, it is an absolute insult for men to be pretending that they are so oppressed because they feel they are in the wrong bodies, or they want to identify as the opposite sex, when they have absolutely every advantage over females who are born female. And there is absolutely no way. I've dealt with so much female genital mutilation. The women who I've delivered have suffered the most appalling fistulas and infections, and it is just, it makes me so angry. So yes, those three reasons really.